Hey everyone, welcome back to Code of the Row. In this video, we're going to be going over more HP bars, just to get just looking for that clean, sleek looking modern UI. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go over to that HUD folder we created in the last video, and I will just, I'm actually going to just duplicate this stat bar widget blueprint. Just open this up. Actually, just going to start creating this here instead of just doing everything in the main Sci-Fi HUD. That's going to show everything because this will get really messy really fast. I want to keep them a little more organized, so I'm just going to move everything to the stat bar WBP1 in this case. All right, for this HP bar, I'm going to change the HP bar fill type to bottom to top because I want to start it up here, going down, 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 just like that. So I'll just leave this at 0.5. for an example. And then I also want to just add in quite a few images. So let's add, I think I need 3 images. So in the overlay, 1, 2, 3. And now what I'm going to do for this one, it's going to be top container, bottom container, and glass. So for top container, I'm going to head over to image, look for this sci-fi container, just like that. And then for the bottom container, I'll select the base of this container. And then for the glass, I'll select this glass container, just like that. So now let me try to position these properly. And I'm going to make sure glass is behind my containers. And now I need to size it to fit inside this capsule. So for the container, for the glass, I put a padding left of 50 and a top of 150. And the size of this is 400 by 400. The top container, I put 000 just as default, and then same as the default size was just 512 by 200. And then for the bottom container, I put it as 512 by 194, which is also default, but top padding of 480 just to push it down quite a bit. Now I'm going to adjust this HP bar, which is in the size. And let me see if I can just drag this. So for the text, I'm just going to set the visibility to hidden, just like that. And then for the size box, I am going to increase the height to something like 500 or 400, and the width will be 300. Let me go ahead and play around with this. So for the left, I'm going to do a padding of 60 and a height, or from the top, let me try 200, 150, and I need to shorten it quite a little bit. So for the height, I'll do 380. Actually, no, 400 is good. And for the width, I'll do 400 or 380. Okay, yeah. And for the width, I'll do 380 so that it looks like it's completely filling into this capsule. So now let me just hit compile and save and see what it looks like when I drag the stat bar WPP1 into our actual HUD, which is called the Sci-Fi HUD. So as you see that we created all this stuff right here, it would get really cluttered instead of just calling that stat bar. So I'll call my stat bar WBP here, just drag it in, and it's just one unit. And now I can just drag this in and you'll see that it looks kind of big. So I just need to set the size quite a lot smaller. So instead of 512 to 674, I'll just probably divide this by like 5 or something. And it's going to kind of be weird because of that size box for our HP. So I'm actually just going to adjust it back in here. So in order to scale this UI properly, because it's too big, I'm just going to right click on this and wrap it with a scale box. And now essentially when I click my scale box, I can just scale it down properly. It'll stay at this exact same scale as I made it. And I can just play around with this. So I'll just leave it something like this. Or actually, you know what? I need to anchor it just to make it look a little better. Let me zero these out. Size X, let's do 150. Size Y will also be 150. Actually, I need to make it a little bigger. I'll do 200 by 200. Just show it off. And the alignment, I'll do 0.5 to center it. And then I'll do 3 to bring it up, or 2 to bring it up. And now I'll hit compile and save. And for this stat bar, and now you'll see for this stat bar, it is a HP bar that's going from top to bottom. And this one actually does look pretty nice. I do like how this looks. The placement is horrible though, so just ignore that. So let me actually move that to the side and start on another one. And I'm going to duplicate this one and make another HP bar. So let's go ahead and just remove these images. All right, so now I'm going to create another HP bar because these two look pretty good. And I'm going to create a few more just to go over the UI stuff. So I'm going to duplicate this one, call it stat bar WBP3. open this up. And for these ones, I think I'm just going to replace the images just to see how the other one looks. So this image will be lid 2. Oh, and it actually perfectly replaces that. So I'm pretty happy about that one. And for the bottom one, this will be base 2. And I think I need to move it up a bit or maybe make this a little longer. And I'll just try changing the glass to something like glass 02. Actually, I'll try this liquid container 01 and change the alpha to something like maybe 0.7. Now let's size this up a little bit. So I'll put the X for the image size at 400 and the Y at 400 as well. And then for the bottom one, I'm just going to add a less padding to the top. So we'll do something like, I'll do the top padding as 420 instead of 480. And I think for this, I might need to add a tiny bit. So let me, actually, no, this looks good. Actually, no, let me do a top padding of 10 just to make it feel more enclosed. And I think for the glass, I'm actually going to change the alpha from 0.7 to 0.5, maybe something less. So yeah, I think 0.3 is kind of good. It still gives you that container feeling while having while having the shapes to it and still being able to see the HP. So I'll compile and save and add this to my Sci-Fi HUD. So I'll just drag this in and I'm going to right click, wrap this with a scale box, and then I'll select the scale box and scale it down. And I'll just size it to this. So this is 200 by 200. So for this scale box, I'll do 200 by 200 as well, just like that. And I'll place it right next to it. Hit compile and save. And you'll see text blocks on all of these because I did set those to invisible. So I'll hit play. And you'll see that when I hit F11, it moves into kind of weird places. And that's just because it's not anchored properly. And you do want to go ahead and anchor that when you do pick a final design. And we will get into that in a second. But I actually really do like how this one looks. Both of them look really, really good to me. So now I'll duplicate this, create a 4. So if you don't want to see how everything looks in Unreal, like if it's a little more time consuming, I think opening Photoshop or some sort of photo editor and then just dragging in stuff from your Sci-Fi HUD folder in might be the way to go just to see how it looks. And then recreating in Unreal Engine afterwards. So yeah, this is this is way faster than just doing it all in Unreal. All right, so after laying a lot of these out, I'm kind of realizing that I think I'm going about this the wrong way. So instead of taking the image as is, I should scale them to be narrower upwards. So let me show an example using something like this. So I'll change this to fill from left to right, and I'll just change these images. So for the bottom container, I'm just going to delete this for now. And for the size box, I'll set this to something like 500 width to something like 40 height. Hopefully it's not too narrow, maybe even 30 height. I'll delete this glass image and I'm just going to replace the top container with this, with the Techie 01. And now for the X, I'm just going to fit it into this HP box. All right, so I just went ahead and created this. I actually got this from the Synty store site. So I just got it from down here on the bottom right. Trying to make it just look the exact same because this looks pretty nice to me. It might be a little bit still too much of a design for my preference. So in my case, in my overlay, I just set a size box for the HP, set the padding left to 120, top 50, width 490, height 25. These are really specific. And then this gradient is this sort of like glass image. You might see around this when I click away. It's this little white line that kind of hovers into my HP bar just to add a tiny bit of a detail. So I'll just call this glass. And then the top container is going to be just this actual bar. So I'm using the Techie 01. And then I just set the Y to 40, just making it really skinny. And then over here, I just set this plus sign. I just set this plus sign in the middle, and the background is this example background that has this kind of dark blue going to light blue. And then for the actual frame itself, I'm using Techie 03 because the color of the top side does match and the bottoms match as well. And then I changed my HP bar color. So on the HP bar itself, I changed it to the hex linear of this. And then the fill I changed as well to this kind of red. And that's just because I just used an eyedropper tool to try to get these colors exactly. So it might look a little different on my screen, but yeah, I think it works well. So I'm going to hit compile and save, add this to my HUD on the bottom right. So I just anchored this scale box down to the bottom right. And then I positioned it or aligned it like this. I might actually move it a little bit more to the left. So instead of 1, I'll do like 0.9. Just trying to get it really far to the right with a small indent. I might even do like 0.9 or 0.85, just like that. So now when I hit compile and save, you're still going to see the other two that I made. And personal preference, this probably looks the best out of these three. I think this one over here looks the coolest. Um, maybe not something I'll use, but I am gonna keep it because I do want to make examples of full-on HUDs that's actually usable in later tutorials. So yeah, but for now, for this tutorial, I'm gonna keep this one on the far bottom right and just try to replicate this one. I know this one is actually a lot smaller in terms of the length of the bar, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually fix that. And I'm not naming these properly. It's just statbar underscore WBP4 and so on, and it is a little bit annoying to keep up with. So for the X or for the X value of this HP bar or the size box, I need to do a width of something lower. So let's do, what was it before? It was 490. So I think I'll do something like 350. I think 350 is good. And then I'm just gonna scale the glass down as well. Right, try to line it up right here. So maybe like 335. No, 330. So 332. I'm going to be really specific with these. And then the frame itself also needs to, or not the frame, but the container needs to come down. The X will also go down to something like 420. And now I'll hit compile, save, and now I'll try running it. And this actually does look a little bit more modern. I do like it a bit smaller. Although this end looks kind of weird to me, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. I think the glass is not aligning to the right properly. Oh yeah, the glass is not all the way to the left. So okay, so I lowered the left padding, and now I need to increase my X values. 340, 345. Yeah, 345 is good. And okay, this looks good to me. Now the glass is actually fitting in, and I might actually just move this a tiny bit to the right. Actually, no, this looks good. So now when I hit compile and save, all right, yeah, that looks a lot better to me. Yeah, so this looks a lot better to me. And now in the next video, I think I'm going to be adding a compass. So I'm going to do that and turn that into a tutorial. I know I might be going a little fast with these series, but this is something I really do want to do and get into. UI has been one of my interests for quite some time. And yeah, after this, I'm definitely going to go over like shooting AIs and stuff like that. And then I also need to integrate this into a Synty combat framework. Thanks for watching Coded Row. Like, subscribe, comment below what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.